Apple has been lagging behind in the AI space, right? They don't have, everybody
Apple.
has their own, I know, Apple with a coconut. So I know they've kind of, there's a lot of the, and on X and everything that we're talking about is everybody, Google has their own, Meta has their own, um, Microsoft has their own quote unquote with the OpenAI, but Apple is late to the game, is what the thought process, right? So the latest
Right.
announcement with Apple Intelligence, they already are so good at branding. They've branded artificial intelligence to Apple Intelligence, amazing. But they showed a demo about, just again a demo. We don't, nobody has access to it, but I think people with the 15 Pro are going to get access to it. It's a lot of things we've seen before, but from coming from Apple, there was a privacy component around it. Your data is going to stay in your phone, but you're going to have the power of Apple Intelligence to reply in mail, summarize emails, generate images, and better language understanding, and you can actually watch what's going on screen. And Siri now, instead of how bad it is right now, can actually have a conversation like you can do with Chat GPT now. So there's a lot of cool things that they showed. So that's a high level what they showed, and I want you to talk about the meme that Elon posted, and let's just talk through it. What you
Yeah.
saw? What? Yeah.
So if I were to consolidate, the impression I got where Apple was going towards was, look, folks, AI is not a product; it's a feature, right? We have this OS, we have all your personal data. We are just going to add another feature to it called AI to every part of what you do with our system, right? It's an interesting take because everybody is trying to figure which way to approach the same domain, right? It's a picks and shovels game, it's a product game, or it's a core part of the operating system. It's a feature, right? So it's going to show up over time everywhere in your Apple iOS system. But here is the catch, and that's what this meme is all about. The catch is that now they have to depend on OpenAI, which kind of don't have that reputation to keep things in a secure, private manner. So this is what Elon is making fun of. Like, how are you going to make sure? Right? Obviously, everybody is in this rat race of trying to get something out, but it's a tough game. I mean, yes, if you say you want to put the model in the phone embedded chip, great, and everybody knows the resolution is going to be lower, and at some point it has to reach to the cloud. Then what happens? Apple doesn't have a technology there to reach out to the cloud, right? So how are you going to? So obviously, they're all trying to get everything fit in the phone, but we know this: not everything fits into the phone. So you still have to get to the cloud
Yes.
somehow. So that's where I want to see. Again, their statement basically says we are going to be extremely careful. We'll not let OpenAI save anything you send to them, or we are going to double click, triple click, say you really want to share this. We have seen. The second approach I saw was that we are going to anonymize everything that we send to OpenAI.
Yes.
Well, we know the anonymization game. I mean, from starting with the Verizon lawsuit, with the big telcos. I mean, this anonymization, I don't believe this anonymization game because all you're able to do is remove my name and stuff, but you leave my signature, footprint of my behavior, all kind of stuff in there for others to put together. So I don't know how that satisfies the criteria of we are keeping your stuff secure. You can anonymize, yes, but yeah, I can put it together in a jiffy, right? It has seen everything that you do, and it says, "Oh, that's a person X," and then all you need to do is how many person X is out there, and then start filtering through which one is it.
It's not foolproof. Yes,
So we'll
I
see how
agree.
this.
And I think, yeah, and I think what the bottom line is, it's a business move, right? Because they are the sales for iPhones has dropped a lot. So this, because it needs a better, faster phones, I think it only will work in the 15 Pro and Pro Max. They need the M1 chips. So now what it's going to do, at least minimum, is drive a couple more cycles of refresh cycles from Apple, right? So it's
Right,
needed
right.
as a
It's needed.
company, as a top company, it's needed. I get that part. But I think something you said is very critical is, if LLMs and the intelligence is becoming a commodity, do I Apple's taking the stand just like Toyota did with the EVs, right? They one of the companies that basically sat out the whole EV race and they just focus on hybrids and the internal combustion engines. And then what we see 4 years later is EV sales are not doing very well. And Toyota now looks like a superstar for making that choice. And
Right.
some of these EV companies might not be even in existence 3 to 5 years from now. And a lot of discounts are happening because EVs, after the early adopters got it, a lot of Indian people got Tesla. It hasn't reached mainstream because it's too expensive. Until that prices come down to the 25-30 mark, it's not going to be a mainstream product. So I'm using this as an analogy to show that if our LLMs and intelligence is a commodity, does it make sense as a business to spend millions and billions of dollars building your own intelligence versus using somebody like OpenAI? To me, I think it's a smarter choice. Only time will tell, but I think they are offering the functionality to the users without having to spend the cycles for it. So that's a good part. But
That's
again, the
right.
bad part is, can you really keep it anonymous? Can you really keep the data from getting out of the system? But I think logically, I like what they're doing. Again, I'm not a Apple fan. I have an Android phone. My wife has an Apple phone. So this is coming from a person who doesn't even. It's not. I'm not an Apple fanboy. But what I like what they did was they're trying to do. We've talked about it, right? Smaller models that stay on the phone that can give you immediate answers for simple things.
Correct.
For more complex, so like photos and stuff you want to do, now it goes to Apple servers. If you even past that, if you want to question, then that's where the anonymization happens. But if you want to go more where you want to interact with the chat GPT, you have to specifically give permission. So
Right.
Apple's big on usability, right? So now for every request you make, if you have to say, do you want me to use chat GPT to use that, and you have another click before it happens, I don't know how
If
the user experience is
you
going to,
know, this
right?
is a great point you brought up, Rajni. I was at a conference yesterday, and another person from education side brought up the same thing. Right? People get presented with terms and conditions, and all you see is a, I agree. Right?
Yeah,
Nobody reads it. Nobody wants to tabulate it in a series of actually understanding and click yes to do this, right? It's become such a big legal form that nobody has patience to read. So long story short, there's a fight between user experience and trying to win the customer over disclosing everything that they're doing that is probably causing them more pain down the line. I'm eager to see how Apple is going to thread the needle on there, because it seems like whatever user interface they presented is like, this is going to go to ChatGPT. Are you okay? That's not enough for me. I want to know what happens and after that, right? I want to know. List me. Like, you're going to. What else are you going to do with that data, right?
I agree. It's a at some point there'll be some fatigue too, right? Is that if you want to actually interact with something, what do you have to click here and then go say yes, interact? Why can't I go directly? So this is going to be take some time to play out, but I think long term, my hunch is that Apple is building their own proprietary
That's the
models that
way.
they'll
Yeah,
use for
exactly.
when they right now it might be a temporary thing. So you have the functionality, but use it for a couple of years. Then maybe they polish their version of AI and replace, because at the end of the day, it is a commodity. Just like every product POCs we are doing, we're not just dependent on ChatGPT or OpenAI. Right? We do that with Llama. I think most products coming out have to get to a point where they're agnostic to what LLMs or the intelligence layer to be able to interact. And I think if you go down that path, then hopefully at some or Apple's hope could be replacing OpenAI with their own version, so that it's lesser, it's more private. It's whatever still stays within the Apple's boundaries.
You are right. I think that may be the case, and that may be the game they want to play to catch up. But I want to highlight this fact for our audience. It's a serious game that they're playing, because now it's their brand, right? That's etched into people's mind. That's going to make people consent to things actually that they don't want to consent in the 2 years, right? This is the game that everybody
Right, right.
should be aware of, right? Because I'm an Apple guy, I'm going to say everything okay because Apple will take care of me. But how is Apple
Yes.
going to take care of you when they don't know what OpenAI does on the other side? This is the big question I have, right? And maybe in 2 years, what if it's too late, right? There's a lot of stuff has already passed to OpenAI. Again, I don't want to be a naysayer to this kind of strategy, but everybody should be aware. The big brands like Apple and Microsoft putting a stamp of approval is a big thing, and it should be very careful. They should be very careful doing that. Yes, I would have been very happy if they said, "I'm just going to do everything on the phone and that's it for now," right? Because we are concerned about people's privacy, but they didn't do that. That's my concern. Why are they pitching for OpenAI?
So I think OpenAI is going to be the winner regardless, one way or the other. Looks like. So if Apple stops 2 years from now, they have improved their model with more data, so they still will hold the edge over Gemini and other open source.
Right.
So this is definitely going to be fun to play out. I know usability and ease of use was one of the biggest selling points for Apple. I want to see in reality how this works. So we will actively
We'll wait for the
watch this,
next iOS 18, right? The next one that comes out.
Yes.
We will see how this goes.